Good afternoon or good morning, ESL 20 and ESL 29. Welcome to our second week of Unit 4 Community Involvement. I'm hanging out with my puppy Nova in the background, and we are here to talk to you guys about minimal pairs and word stress, most importantly, today. Okay, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm hoping that you're not sick of my videos yet because I'm not sick of making them, and I'm super excited that we get to connect in this way. Okay, so let's get started on our PowerPoint for today. We are going to do a shared screen. We are going to do this. I'm getting the hang of it now. This is exciting stuff, you guys. All right. Oops, we don't need to be looking at the homework quite yet. Boop, boop. Perfect, here we are. So we are going to get started with our agenda. So for today, we are going to be talking about minimal pairs review and our word stress. Anytime you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message on Canvas, to send me an email. You will all have my emails. So yeah, we're in this together, you guys. So let's do it. So if we were in class together, I would start off class with this question. How have you been involved in the community since we last saw each other? I know that that is a tough question to answer right now, considering that we are not involved in the community in a traditional sense. But I would like you to sit here and think about this, because each day we are involved in some sort of community, whether we are aware of it or not. For example, right now you're watching this video, so you're involved in our community, ESL 20's community, which is super cool. I'm so thankful for our community. I think it's really special. So think about what else you have done to be involved. Have you called your friends, your family members? Have you FaceTimed with anybody? Have you gotten on video games and played games with people from around the world or from down the street? Have you been communicating with anybody from school, right? Have you been talking to people from work? This is all community-based conversation and communication. So just because we are not super out and about in the community at this moment doesn't mean that we're not involved. Am I right? Yeah. So take a second, pause the video if you need to, and just think about this. Do a little bit of reflecting. Talk out loud for a little while. Think, how have I been involved in the community, right? Who have I been talking to? So pause your video, take at least 30 seconds to do that. Okay, so now you have unpaused and you are back here to chat with me. So let's continue our video. So we've been talking a lot about minimal pairs, haven't we? And hopefully we understand what minimal pairs are, and hopefully we've been able to share the knowledge with other people or with ourselves and just figure out what minimal pairs do I need to work on, right? So not everybody has to work on the same minimal pairs. For example, you might be really good at pronouncing T versus TH, or you might be really good at pronouncing B versus V. So if you don't need to work on a minimal pair, don't worry about that. Focus on what you need to work on, right? So we are moving on to word stress. Now, word stress is super important. I don't know about your languages, but in English, our language goes up and down and up and down and up and down, right? It's an emotional language. We stress certain things. Think about how I'm speaking right now, right? I'm stressing certain parts of my sentence, but I'm also stressing certain parts of the words that I'm talking about. So we're today going to be talking about word stress. Next class, we're going to be talking a little bit more about sentence stress. So we're talking about the specific sounds in the words today. Next class, we'll talk about the specific words in sentences, okay? So for homework, you had to watch a video about word stress. And in that video, there were 5 different rules. And today we're going to discover that there are actually more than 5 rules, but we're going to focus on those first 5 that we learned as well. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. All right. So, sorry, I just had to sneeze, so I had to pause that for a second. All right. What is word stress? So, in English, the individual pronunciation parts of a word, which are called syllables, which is different than syllabus, okay? Syllable versus syllabus, okay? Aren't pronounced with the same weight. One syllable receives more emphasis than the others. For example, there are 3 syllables in the word beautiful. Beautiful. And the word stress falls on the first one, beau. Remember, we don't call people, oh my gosh, you are so beautiful, or wow, she is very beautiful. We say, wow, she's really beautiful, right? So we can only stress vowels. We do not stress consonants. If you can look at how beautiful is broken down, we have vowels in this first syllable, a vowel here with the I, and a vowel with the U. So we have beautiful. We cannot divide it based on consonants. So we don't really pay attention to the T or the F. Okay? All right. So what are syllables? Now, this is a lot of really intense text. So let's break it down. A syllable is a unit of pronunciation that has one vowel sound. For example, my name, Emily, has 3 syllables. Em-I-Ly, right? E-mi-ly. Other words, for example, Ka-ho has 2. Ka-ho. Or Melina has Melina. 3. All right. So think about your own name. How many syllables are in it? So a word might have 1 syllable, an or can, or more, such as police, which is 2 syllables, company, company, which is 3, or necessary, which is 4. Necessary. Okay. This is a crazy word, you guys. Can you even think to have any idea how to pronounce this? So this is one of the longest words, if not the longest word in the English language, okay? And using the syllables and how you can, chop up a word, take a second and try to pronounce this. So pause the video and take a second and try to pronounce this word on your own. Okay, so hopefully you've paused the video. This is called anti-disestablishmentarianism. 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 12. Crazy, crazy, right? So let's continue. That syllables aren't the same as letters, right? So letters and syllables do not equate with each other. We're talking about vowel sounds, not how many letters are within one word. Scratch has 7 letters, but only 1 syllable, because we only have 1 vowel sound, which is coming from that A. While umami has 5 letters, but 3 syllables, umami, which is because of the vowel sounds. So whatever the word, however long it is, we want to pay attention to the vowel sounds, not necessarily the amount of letters in the word. Okay, we got it. So let's talk about stressed syllables. Now, stressed syllable is not a syllable that is super stressed out, right? This syllable is not like, oh my God, I have so much homework. I don't know what to do. I need to go pick up my kids. I need to make dinner. I want to go for a run. A stressed syllable is actually something that has more emphasis, okay? And we can emphasize a syllable in a variety of ways. So for native speakers, I'm sure you do this in your own native language as well. We do a few different things. We pronounce a longer vowel. So for example, beautiful. Oh my gosh, she is so beautiful, right? You stretch it. You raise the pitch of the syllable to a higher level. So for example, you could say beautiful, beautiful, right? Isn't that so funny? You can actually feel it. So you say beautiful. You say the syllable louder, beautiful. You pronounce it with clarity, beautiful. Or you create more distinctive facial movements, right? So you really make your face go like crazy. Beautiful. Wow. You're emphasizing what you're saying. And if you're from a culture who really emphasizes their language, I'm thinking Italians, I'm thinking Spanish speakers, we embody our language, right? We're moving our body, we're changing, we're talking like this. This might be easier for you. If you're from a culture who doesn't do that, this might be a little bit harder, or just take a little bit more time to get used to. I've had some of my Russian students in the past tell me that this is super uncomfortable for them and they feel like they're a cartoon. That's fine. We're just practicing. All right, so let's talk about the rules that you learned. Oops, what did I do? There we go. Let's talk about the rules that you learned and some more rules that we're learning today. So one rule for word stress is for nouns and adjectives with 2 syllables, you stress that first syllable, like progress, present, increase. There are some exceptions. We do not say hotel, right? We say hotel. We don't say extreme, we say extreme. And we don't say concise, we say concise. So, of course, this is English, we have exceptions to the rules, okay? But the first rule is that we emphasize the very first syllable for nouns and adjectives with 2 syllables. Rule number 2 is kind of like the opposite. It's for verbs and prepositions. For 2-syllable words that are verbs and prepositions, we emphasize the second syllable. So we say progress, present, record, between. All right. So you can see that this is the exact opposite. For rule number 1, we have progress, present. For rule number 2, we have progress, present. You see the important difference here? You can go on Google and look up nouns and verbs that have the same spelling and practice this. It's really, really important. Yeah, first two rules down. We've got it. For rule number 3, words that end with shun, shin, shin, right? We have this TSC, or any words that end up here like I, il, able, in, int, ish, ush. We stress the second to last syllable. This is not always the third because there might be only 3 or there might be more. But let's look at some examples. Education, intuition, concentration. So education, intuition, concentration. Second to last syllable. Rule number 4 is that words ending with IC are usually stressed on the second to last syllable. So same thing as this rule number 3, okay? So second to last syllable. So really we could have included IC with rule number 3, but we're just dividing because it's so many, okay? So economic, realistic, strategic, very important. Rule number 5 is words ending with E or O are usually stressed on the last syllable, right? So we actually stress it on that E sound or on that O sound. Employee, guarantee, shampoo. Now, I do want to kind of argue with this example, right? Because nobody says shampoo. We say shampoo. So this P could really be next to the OO. We're just using this as an example with the spelling and the emphasis. But we say shampoo. We don't say shampoo, right? Now, here are some exceptions. Committee and coffee. Imagine if you got up in the morning and said, oh my gosh, I would love some coffee, right? Your husband or wife or partner or roommate would be like, whoa, I don't think you need any coffee. You're talking like crazy. So we want to say coffee instead of coffee. You guys know that. Now let's talk about some additional rules that were not covered in that video. Rule number 6, Three-syllable words ending with ER or LY are stressed on the first syllable. Orderly, quietly, manager. Now, you can see that actually this could be very similar to our rule number 1. Manager is a vowel. Manager is a noun. And so we stress this first syllable, and we also stress the first syllable of nouns with 2 syllables, don't we? So for most nouns, we actually stress that first syllable, unless there are lots and lots and lots of syllables in them. And orderly and quietly, those are, yeah, those are going to be adverbs, but we are going to focus on this first stress, okay? Because we're not saying orderly, quietly. We are focusing on the beginning of the word here. Rule number 7, words ending with CY, TY, PHY, GY, and AL are stressed on the third to last syllable. So remember, the other rule was the second to last syllable. This one's the third to last. I know that this seems like a lot of rules to remember. I'm not asking you to remember all of them. We're just going through this as an exercise, and then we're going to do a little bit of a worksheet to do it, to practice. When you're speaking, you're not going to be thinking, oh, am I using rule number 6? Or, oh, wow, I should be using rule number 1, but I used rule number 2. You already speak very intuitively. But this is just so that we have the reasoning behind why we're speaking like this. So again, never in a conversation will you think, oh my gosh, well, that's an adverb or that's an adjective, so I should actually use this. It'll come naturally. But if there's something that you're having a hard time pronouncing, like if you're reading out loud in a class, and you come across a word and you go, shoot, I don't know how to pronounce this, then you can start thinking back, okay, what were some of the rules that I remembered? For example, photography. A lot of students say photography, but we know that for this rule, it's a third to last syllable that's stressed. So we want to say photography instead of photography. Okay? All right, the last 2 are pretty easy, okay? So rule number 8 is compound nouns, which means a noun where 2 nouns make up the noun, like football or keyboard. We pronounce the first syllable. For rule number 9, for compound adjectives, understand and old-fashioned, we pronounce the stress on the second word. So for understand, under is the first word, stand is the second one, so we stress stand. For old-fashioned, old is the first word, fashioned is the second word, so we pronounce, we have our stress, on the syllable that starts the second word, which is fa. Because here, fashioned, we have 2 syllables. Stand, we just have 1. Whew. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. Okay, but let's keep going. So here are the basic rules, just kind of organized in a different way for you guys to check out. You can pause the video right here and go through some of them. Yep, they don't have all of the rules we just discussed, but they do have the basic ones here. So pause it if you need to. So here is some exercise, an exercise that I would like us to do. So you have access to this PowerPoint on Canvas, so you can always go back and look through the slides that we just went through. But what I would like you to do is go through and decide on the stress for this PowerPoint slide. So the first one is uncertainty. Now this ends with a TY. Does that give us any indication? Climate, require, geographic, exceptional, knowledge, ecstatic, decide, and critical, and hotel. Actually, probably shouldn't have said those words out loud to you before you did this practice, but I said them quickly, so don't go back and listen to them. So you, on a piece of paper, just write these down and figure out where the word stress is. So underline that word stress, okay? Pause the video, take your time. I'm guessing that this will take probably 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Cool. Okay, so here are the answers. So we have uncertainty, we have climate, we have require. Now, you might look at require and say, Emily, there are 3 vowels here, but we're thinking about vowel sounds, right? Not just the vowels. So the E at the end of require is silent. And qua, the QI, that's one sound. That's called a diphthong. We've learned about this. So this is one syllable. Geographic, exceptional, knowledge, ecstatic, decide, critical, hotel. And remember, hotel was the exception, right? Good job, you guys. So let's keep going. So you have a worksheet, a word stress worksheet that's on Canvas for you. So go through it, practice your word stress. I will also upload the answers so you can take a look at them. Okay, thank you so much for today's lesson, you guys. I'm so happy that we're continuing the semester like this. And of course, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Your homework, I just want to remind you of your journal that's coming up. Please continue working on your minimal pairs. Go to practice and study the website. I know that I'll just put this in an announcement of where I want you to study. But another thing that can be really useful, nope, that's the wrong, where am I going? Another website that's very, very useful, just do a different window, is howmanysyllables.com. Okay, so howmanysyllables.com. This is an actual website, which is crazy and very cool. So if you type in, I have geographic, we can see that is 4 syllables. The primary syllable is here. The secondary syllable is the beginning. We're just focused on the primary syllables. And then it has the pronunciation, and we can even listen.
Geographic. G-O-graph-ic. Geographic.
Cool. So I hope you got that. Please use this for any sort of words, for this class, for other classes, totally up to you. All right, you guys. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to try to go back to my face. There we go. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next time in day 4 of Unit 4, Community Involvement. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Have a good day.